Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Mary, seat of wisdom, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So today we begin chapter 13. Don't be afraid of the number 13. So it is a chapter about life. What is human life? So now we have all the elements not to understand better and better what is a human person. So life. What is life? That is chapter 13. And what is the origin of life? Chapter 14. So the two last chapters of the program are about life. What is life? That we study this morning and next class. In fact, we consecrate 3 classes for that. And 2 classes for the origin of life. Now, go to number 2, the first page. On the element associated with the phenomenon of life. If you want, what are the life indicators? When do I know that something or somebody or some animal is living? The characteristic which first everybody can discover is motion. Motion. And motion by itself. The animal moves by itself. Or the plant grows by itself. So motion, but not any kind of motion. Self-motion. Self-motion. So motion is not uniquely reality for life, because I can throw a ball and the ball is in motion, but the ball is not living. So the motion, life is motion, but from within. From within. Self-motion, we call also spontaneous. Spontaneous motion. Spontaneity. Spontaneity is a characteristic of life. Spontaneous. I mean, the movement comes from within. Your cat is sleeping, and suddenly he stands up. He stands up. Of course, something, maybe he smells a mouse, or he smells something good, or you enter the house, and he's so happy to have you not far from him to receive some hug. So self-induced special motion. Self-induced. The movement comes from yourself. That is the characteristic of life. It's a very, very important. For example, when you have the first cell, you have the first cell, okay? Now the first cell, what happens? Divides in 4 parts. That division comes from within. Very, very, very important for those who fight for life, pro-life. That is very, very important. The division of cell, the movement, because division is a movement. Multiplication of cell comes from within. Nothing outside provokes that. So if the first cell is by itself dividing, multiplying, it is a sign of life. Life is there. That's excessively important. Life is in the first cell. Why? Because it is a spontaneous motion. It is a self-motion. So we cannot deny that. And we accept that. We accept that the first cell of a cat is a cat, the first cell of a fish is a fish, and the first cell of a man is a man. It's not a monkey becoming intelligent. No, is a man. That is very important, from conception to death. And that is not based on theology, it's based on science. On science. We know the first cell by itself multiply, divide and multiply. The movement comes from within. It's not the mother, it is the cell itself. That means life is there. First characteristic of life, motion, self-motion. Is the source. In fact, the living life is the source of motion within. Of course, we need the sun, we need light, we need food, but the motion is there. I can feed a dead cat, but that cat will not assimilate. Okay? Assimilation is emotion. You will listen to me now, it's emotion. Because I can go to the cemetery and teach philosophy, they will not react, but you react. Why? Because you have cell motion. Okay? Next page. Other indicator. You have growth. Huh? Growth comes from assimilation. Huh? So we grow because we assimilate. Assimilation is an action of the living. For example, a flower assimilates its food from the soil and from the air, from the sun, you know. Assimilate. That becomes the flower. You know? So that is, because we assimilate, we can grow. I don't think every morning when you have a flower, you are ready. You say, wait a minute, okay. No, the flower grows by itself. Open by itself. It's a marvel. I send you, through email, two slideshow. One about birds and one about flowers. They are in French, no problem. Pictures are not French. They are universal. They are marvelous, marvelous. To see how the beauty of birds, the beauty of flowers. All that is made by chance. No? But some scientists, PhD in science, they affirm that. It's like a stupid faith. Because it's not nonsense. Motion of when a flower grows, a tree grows, a cat grows, a baby grows, it is from within. It is because that animal, that plant, that man, assimilates. Takes the non-life, make that living. When you eat a steak, you eat a dead cow. Yeah. Because, no, we must kill the cow before eat the cow. No, before eating, no. But you transform non-life into life. The non-life into life. That is assimilation. Huh? Repair also. That is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Huh? When you see you have a problem, you cut, for example, your leg, and everything is repairing. Incredible. Or you have a headache, you take a pill, aspirin, and the aspirin is taking care of your headache. You are constipated, you take X-Lax, it is taking care of the part of your body. And when you have a headache, you don't use X-Lax. And when you are constipated, you don't use aspirin. You understand that? Huh? Repair. That is a tree. You cut a tree a little bit, the sap flows out, and little by little the tree heals itself. A dog has a wound, he heals itself. That's a characteristic of life. And that is, you know, the more you study that, the more you see there is a finality. Nothing is at random in that. When you eat, you take a vitamin, you take some remedy, etc. There is a finality. You have cramps, okay, doctor said to you, eat potassium, banana. And the banana helps you to avoid cramp. We cannot see it's at random. The idea, all the time in the class you will see, everything we see through science, through biology, indicate there is a finality, there is an order, there is an organization. It is not at random, it's not by chance. Okay? So the restorative act, that is a marvel also. And the reproductive act. Flower, tree, animals, man, they reproduce, they continue to exist. Even if they die, they continue to exist in the other flowers, in the other man, the other children, other plant, etc. So that's our characteristic of life. There is a French biologists who distinguish four in Claude Bernard. And at the same time in Germany we have Hans Rich. I speak about Andrich, why? Because Andrich was the teacher of Jacques Maritain. Jacques Maritain is a French, he was a French Protestant, but in fact he became agnostic. And he married a Jew from Russia, Raisa. And both of them, they were searching for the truth, you know. And they went to study biology 1 year in Germany with Andrich. And both of them, what they discovered, as a biologist, they discovered that we cannot reduce life to a mechanical phenomenon. Life is more than a mechanical phenomenon. In life, there is something that escapes the control of science. That is against positivism. You know, positivism in the 19th century, with Auguste Comte, positivism, affirmed that we can measure everything, and that we cannot measure does not exist. So only matter exists. But Henri Bergson, we saw that recently, the French Jewish philosopher, who wrote a thesis about duration. You remember that we studied duration, difference with time and duration. Duration is a psychological time. We cannot measure that. Many things escape measure. For example, you free act. Can you explain you free act completely? No. A free act always will have a part of mystery. Why? Because if you can explain the free act completely, it's no more a free act. It is determined. So Andrich and Claude Bernard, they arrived to affirm that there is a principle of life they call ante-leki. Ante, in, telos means goal, and ekein in Greek means to have. So, to have and in. So to have and then in the thing, you know. That instead they cannot say soul, because to say soul is philosophical term or theological term. But they said there is an ante-leki, a principle of life. Now, what is a principle of life? It is the soul. Okay? But what are the manifestations of life according to... So Maritain was there, and what happened? He met a French poet and journalist, Léon Blois, and he discovered St. Thomas. And he became a Thomist. And in fact, the current he created, we call that Neo-Thomism. Neo. You have Gilson, we studied that in philosophy of God, and Gilson, who taught here he taught in Yale, and Maritain taught many years in Princeton. So they are great Catholic. And you know what is interesting? Jacques Maritain, at the end of the council, was the layman to receive the document about the layman. So when the Pope gave the document, he gave that to Jacques Maritain. Okay, so on the apparent thesis. I like Jacques Maritain, you know why? Because he allowed us to study St. Thomas in a modern way. You know, in fact, he used the Summa, but he expresses that in, like Father Reichmann. You know, Father Reichmann is a neo-Thomist. They don't refer continually to the Summa, but they express the same idea in a language everybody can understand. Otherwise, only specialists, Dominican and some seminarian. Okay. So what are the characteristics of life according to Mr. Claude Bernard? The first is organization. That means life, when life is developed, what is organization? Is the action of making organ. Huh? Organization, organ. What is organ in Greek? Organa in Greek means tool. Huh? Tool, instrument. In fact, an organ, the big organ, is an instrument. It's an instrument, the big organ. Okay? So organization. So the differentiation. That is marvelous. We start from one cell, and from that one cell we arrive to have many organs. Eyes, stomach, mouth, hands. It's incredible. From one cell, that is sign of life. You put in the soil a little seed, and after that you have a beautiful flower. So difficult that nobody can do that on earth. Even the best, the one who wants to imitate a flower, they cannot arrive to the same thing. That is life. Organization, differentiation. Huh? And because of that, if there is organization and differentiation, implies there is some intelligent being. An organization requires a plan, no? When you organize a celebration, what do? Prepare a plan. And you make different things. We put, for example, you have a banquet, you put the bishop there, and the sister there, and the teacher there, and the police there, the military. We classify, we organize. The second characteristic is nutrition. Nutrition, assimilation. A stone does not eat. Some stones, they grow but by aggregation. You see that in the sea. You have some stones, little by little, they are covered with other organisms, they grow, but they don't grow by themselves. Okay? It's like a snowball. When you take a snowball, you have the top of a hill, and the ball runs. What happened to the ball? It grows. That is not assimilation, it's aggregation. Aggregation, correct in Latin, means a flock, a horde. Many animals together. Gregarious. Okay? So nutrition, assimilation. What is assimilation? Is to take something out different from me and to transform that into my own reality, my own body. So that is phenomenal. You take something which is totally strange to you, that carrot or that apple or that piece of meat, and you transform that into your own body. Another characteristic of the reproduction is a characteristic of every living being. Every living being, materialist, don't speak about angels here. Every living being has the capacity of reproducing. It's a characteristic of life. A stone, a diamond cannot do that. A diamond is beautiful, but it will never achieve the same. It will not make other diamond. But a cat, a man, a flower, a tree, they can have other and other and other. Continue to exist through their children. And finally, evolution. But be careful, evolution here is not evolution of Darwin, of the origin of man. Is the evolution in the metabolism. You take things and you transform that from the first cell to fetus, from fetus to baby, from baby to a little child, child to adolescent, from adolescent to adult, adult to old man. That is evolution, growth, if you want. Growth. Yes, we can say the circle of life is like that. We start here, we finish here, and that is. At the end, we are like children. We are like children. Okay, we depend on others. But this infant in Latin, infant, that means the one who cannot express, who cannot defend himself. Infant. Child. Okay. Next page. The activity originating within the being itself. So I spoke about that. The sensory and intellective power. For man, the spontaneity of life is expressed through his senses and through his intellective activity. But we have 5 external senses, 4 internal senses, and we have the intellect and the will. All that are expressing that life comes from within. You can, if you understand it, it's because you are living. I can give a class of philosophy, the funeral home. Okay. So these activities are truly life acts. In fact, what is the nature? We said that nature is the essence as principle of activities. So if your activities are spontaneous, your nature is spontaneous. That means that you cannot see directly life. We see life through your activity. And your spontaneous activities first. That I can see, for example, you talk, you run, you eat, we can see that, okay? But there is some activity I cannot see. Because another characteristic of life, it is the fact that here, assimilation, nutrition, all that, it is also immanent activity. So spontaneity, and immanence, characteristic of life. That means you eat, it is a spontaneous activity. And immanent, the fruit of that stays in you. Or it is the factor of your growth. It is eating. It's very important to eat. But of course, in our activity, we need object. But it's not the object that make you read. For example, you see the screen here. Is it the light that produces your sight? You're seeing, no, you see by yourself. The light is a condition. If you are dead, you not see. So life is spontaneous. And the fruit of that seeing, where is it? In you. So your operations are at the same time spontaneous, but they are also immanent. So the 2 dimensions of life, spontaneity and immanent. The result of our activity remains in you. And I explain why you grow, why you change, why you operate, what is your source of energy, etc. Okay? So the 3 levels of life, vegetative, sensory, intellective, you know that already. But it's not necessary to have 3 souls, 3 principles. One can have many functions. We saw that. You remember the question I asked you? Agent intellect and passive intellect. I asked you, do you have 2 intellects?
No.
Only one. You are right, sister. Only one. But 2 function. So you have 1 soul with many functions. Why? Because you have many organs. And those organs start from 1 cell. That is a marvel. I remember a long time ago I read a book, an article, and it was written by a biologist. He said when he studied the body, after that he knelt down. You see, it's impossible that does not come from an infinite power, an infinite intelligence. Okay? So something permanent. And that something permanent is your identity, is your I. That means under the change from baby, fetus, baby, child, to adult, to old man, all is the same I, the same substance. Substance. To stay under, substance, subject. Subject. Substance. Subject, substance. The same reality, the same I. And the rest are accident. You know, logic, we studied that in logic, practical in categories, substance and accident. Okay? So it is what we have here. See, and that permanence is assured. Is it assured by your body? No. Because you know, scientifically, my cells are continually renewed. Some scientists, they say, every 7 years, we change completely our cells. So for me, it's my 11th body. But I am the same, no? Wait, I look at my, when I was my first communion, picture my first communion, and when I look at myself in the mirror, I am the same. But I'm not the same. You know? Why? Because there is something permanent. And what assured in me my permanence is my form. It is my soul. The form, the permanence is not assured by my matter, it is assured by my form. So the form equals the matter, like the soul to the body. So the body, the soul is the form of my body. I am permanent because I am the same entity, the same principle of life from the beginning to the end, the same. And for men, you know that entity, that soul is spiritual, and we continue to exist after that. We see that not now. Okay. Next page. So there is change. We cannot say, I don't change. We change. It's impossible for a living being to stay the same. We change continually. It's the reason why every day we have to eat. Every day we have to sleep. To renew the cells we lose. To renew. Because our body is a constant fight. So we have to, but we change, but at the same time we are the same. So the definition, I go to next 5.4. The definition of living things as self-moving is suitable for two reasons. Because it is applicable to all those things we ordinarily consider to be living, and it accords with as well with the more recent advances in the life science. What is interesting in the book of Father Reichmann? Father Reichmann does not stay only in philosophy to speak about life. And when you read the text, I'm sure you read the text because you prepare your class. I believe you discover that a large part of the chapter is based on science, is based on biology. That is very interesting. St. Thomas never knew biology. The most ignorant among us, pardon me, St. Thomas, knows more than St. Thomas. Our knowledge of life, of science, is much more advanced than the time of St. Thomas. That is day and night. So we cannot use all the argument of St. Thomas for define life, because we have a better knowledge of that, you know. Okay? So that is the reason why. But what is interesting, the discovery of science confirmed the intuition of Aristotle. What Aristotle said in what St. Thomas accepted from Aristotle, today it is confirmed by science. It is what now we are studying just now. That the one and the multiple. We are one. At the same time, we have many functions. No? You have many organs. All that works one. Your eyes, your ear, your stomach, your kidneys, everything is one. They are different functions of the unique reality you are. I am. So I cannot be I am only through my organs. I am because there is a principle of unity, a principle of coordination. And that is confirmed today by science. Okay, we see that too. So here is a scientific confirmation. Huh? It is a quote from Ayala, okay, and Dostoevsky. Thorpe says, living organism, it's not a quotation from the Summa, huh? It's a quotation from a scientist. Huh? Living organism can be defined with much cogency, huh? With much convincing way, huh? As self-reproducing and self-programming system which store and organize information. The most important word is organize information. If you say organize, organization, you imply intelligence and you imply finality. We organize always in view of a goal, no? If you put, you organize a thing, it is because there is a reason why, no? You have a goal to receive a bishop or to receive the president of the country or to, I don't know, huh? To celebrate the birthday of someone. Hmm? So these self-reproducing and self-programming systems are self-movement activities. So self-reproducing, what is that? Spontaneity. Huh? Spontaneity. Self-programming, it is immanence. Huh? Systems are self-movement. So those imply finality. Continually, organization implies intelligence, because in the organization there is a proof of intelligence and also finality. There is a reason. Nothing is at random. And now we study biology, we see that every organ has a specific function, very precise function. And the more we study biology, the more we are right to understand that better and better. Next page, page 5, very important. It is for yellow on my First, the fact of convergence of the activity of the living. What is surprising in the human being, it is the convergence in complexity. You know, we have trillions of cells. We have a lot of organs, and those all organs work for converge for the common good, the good health of I. No? That is interesting. Your stomach, your kidneys, your legs, your tubes, your everything works for your common health. And when everything functions well, you are in good health. And when each organ arrives to its finality, you are in good health. But if you stop hearing, you are not perfectly. If your eyes stop seeing, you are not perfectly in good health. No? To be in good health implies that all those organs, the complexity of your trillion of cells, together work for one reality. They are unified. To unify, we must have principle of unification. Huh? Because Bernard called that entelechy. We call that the soul. Huh? Okay? An example of complexity, yes.
But even if all my stuff is not working in unity, it still doesn't change the essence of who I am. Correct?
Yes. Of course, if your eye stop seeing, you continue to exist as eye. But you are sick. You are not perfectly organized. It is like your car. Your car can function, but it makes some noise. Huh? Bang, 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 bang. Say, hey, something is not. It functions. You go on the street, but something is not functioning well. So you go to the garage. So we go to the doctor. Why? Because our total complexity is not functioning well. Huh? There is something bothering. We go to the dentist. Only a little tooth can paralyze you. No? A little headache paralyze you. Okay? Help you. So the cell. An example of complexity is the cell. I don't want to read that, but the cell is trillion. Huh? In our body, we have 100 trillion of cells. All those cells are composed. When you look at that, and the role of every cell, the way they function, I give you some picture about that in your text at the end of the chapter. Huh? The cell is a marvel. Only one cell is a marvel. It's an organization with the defense. Huh? You are sick when your immune system is not able to defend you. That means your cells are not able to control what enters your body. Huh? So, or control the multiplication of cell cancer. So, in fact, the complexity of only one cell, you study one cell, and you see that a cell is organized, a cell has a finality. And all those cells, they work together. You know, in the army, when soldiers are 1,000 soldiers walking at the same pace, you say, oh, that is at random? No, there must be a commander. There must be a principle of unity, so everyone goes at the same pace. Huh? Okay. So, just after that, in addition, discipline, biological militia, militia that means soldier, stand ready to defend the invader. The word important is discipline within the cell. Order, the word order is maintained by a highly centralized government. Underlying that is from science, it's not from philosophy. That is affirmation of science. Order maintained in your body by a highly centralized government. Coordination, intelligence, finality. So there is finality inscribed in every cell. There is a finality inscribed in the first cell. The finality of the first cell is to produce a cat, or to produce a man, or to produce a fish. It's not at random. The first cell. So that is, and also if there is something, there must be a cause also. Efficient cause and final cause. In fact, for me, one of the best proof of the existence of God is the human body. It's not necessary to go to Mars and to the sun and to the star. Only look at yourself, what you are, what I am, and I can say cannot exist by myself, and that complexity of my own person is a proof that I depend on another infinitely intelligent. But that is the proof of the text of God we see in the future. For the moment, what we can say? We can say in that organization of cells, there is order. There is order. If there is order or organization, the same, organization, there is also a programming. Program. 3 words that will come continually in biology now. In biology, we see an organ exists in order to produce some effects. Your kidneys are not to breathe. Your lungs are not to digest. You know, every organ has an end. and they are programmed. And what was the great discovery? DNA. Huh? So if you go to the next page, the DNA molecule, that is science, it's not physics, it's not metaphysics. Science speaks by itself when we speak in biology. The DNA is the master blueprint, our ID card. Everyone has an ID. You know how it is important today, the DNA. Somebody can be identified after 2, 3, 40 years by its DNA. That means every cell of my body has exactly the same number, the same pattern, the same identity. My ID card is my cell, C-E-L, L. That means my DNA. Imagine your trillion cells, trillion and trillions are the same code, the same program. They work for the same person. Is it possible that we can affirm all that is the fruit of chance? And so by yourself. So we have the code program. Okay, go to the next page, page 7. In the rectangle at the end, you have to help you to understand how many amino acids we have. Look at that. Okay, all those different bodies, but it's important, act in harmony for the good of the whole human body. And what we know today, that a virus is so thin nobody can see that by his own eye. You must have a good microscope. Can destroy your person. Ebola, today, Ebola. Ebola is not ISIS. It is a little minuscule thing can destroy your whole body. So, in harmony for the good, all that work for my good, my health, that I can be an adult in good health, realize my destiny, etc. So what is the function? Here you have that functions come from science. Yes, brother?
What about like cancer, Father? It's not
Cancer is a disorder. It's a multiplication of cells without disorder. Disorder, that means not conform to the order. That is cancer. It's a disease. And that cancer destroys your body.
Well, I'm just trying to philosophically see how that jives with in harmony for the good of the whole body. I'm not
they work in harmony when they are in good health.
Oh, okay. All right.
But you know, as anything, any finite being, it's possible that they make a mistake. They multiply too fast, and the cell multiply too fast, that they cancer. Or some cells stop working, or they are blocking, and you have many kind of problem. I'm not a doctor to explain that. But the harmony, if there is harmony, there is end. If there is disharmony, disorder, that means we don't attain the end. So the disorder is a proof of order. Think about that. When your mother arrived in your room, when you were 14 years old, and everything, your socks, your books, your pious picture, everything was, there was a disorder. A disorder is the absence of order. So when you say disorder, you cannot define disorder otherwise through order. Like you cannot define, but is to be dishonest. If you don't know, there is no honesty. So that is a privation of order. So in fact, a disease is a privation, an absence of an order due. Okay? So here you have a function of DNA from science. And scientists, they say, what are the functions of DNA? I will not read that, but I will only stress the verbs. The verbs. Look at that. DNA molecule first controls. B, directs. C, controls. D, oversees. C, E, regulates. F, monitors. G, send signals. Hey, all those express intelligence. All those verbs express finality. And that is from science. It's not the teaching of St. Thomas. It's not the teaching of Aristotle, from science. So that means science proved that in the human body, that in the flower, the trees, everywhere, there is finality. We cannot deny that. It's an obvious fact. But they cannot say what is the cause of that, because science observes only the facts. So we have to be a metaphysician to go farther than physics, than nature, meta, to go to the ultimate causes at the beginning, at the end. That's in chapter 14, next chapter. Okay? But what I insist today, that from science we have the proof, the certitude that in the human body, in any kind of living, there is organization, a principle of organization. That principle is not coming from outside, it's coming from within. Finally, you have to recognize that the body is not reduced only to matter. The body is more than that. There must be a principle, organization, in every living being. Okay? 4 now. The limit of our knowledge. The present state of our knowledge is spectacularly advanced. It's incredible. St. Thomas, imagine, he knows almost nothing about biology. And in fact, the first university to teach scientifically medicine was the University of Montpellier. Not Montpellier in Vermont, Montpellier in France. Huh? Mont, I don't know, sometimes you put the Mont. It was the first faculty of medicine in Europe, systematically. There were doctors before, but not systematically analyzing the body, opening the belly of people, studying the first. It was at the time of St. Thomas, be after St. Thomas. Aristotle was a doctor. His father was a doctor. He was a biologist, but he did not have a microscope. But in fact, it was the genius of Aristotle, from experience, he discovered a lot of truth, especially the existence of the soul in every living being. Yes, brother?
I was just wondering, maybe off topic, but what's like the church views as, I know in the beginning when they started doing like autopsies or like studying the body,
Yeah.
they were very, very against.
Yeah, but at the beginning, the church was reluctant to that. But it was reluctant because the body was sacred. But some saints, like Saint Francis of the Sales, offered his body to be studied as in the Faculty of Medicine. Because, if we want to make progress, we have to study. It is through studying the body, the organ, the function, that we progress. If you suppress any... No, today there is no problem, but we have to respect the body. Even that body was the body of a Christian, the temple of God. Okay, so that is... I go to the text. But there is so much more to know. And here we have a quotation for a Nobel laureate. He said, what we have today is a description of what happened in the cell. And you have that in your paper at the end of the chapter. Not, that's very, very important, not an understanding of how it happened. We can give a description, but not an explanation. A scientist can describe, he cannot explain completely the phenomenon of life. That escapes science. But it is a fact that not a single scientist can measure life. It's impossible. We measure the effect of life. We cannot measure life. We cannot measure the soul, the entelechy. But we must recognize with Claude Bernard and Hans Rich and other scientists, there must be a principle of life. Okay? In the same vein, another biologist writes, We presently know the vocabulary of the genetic code, but we do not know its grammar. We don't know the meaning of the message as a whole. We know the fact, but we don't know the meaning as a whole. That means we cannot explain everything. In fact, today scientists are much more humble than they were in the 19th century. In the 19th century, they pretended to explain everything. But today, when they explain something, they say, with a margin of error. Always with a margin of error. Okay? So, important remark. We can describe what happened, but we cannot understand. We cannot understand the meaning. Why there is life. We know the activity of life, but the cause, ultimate cause of that within the body, no scientist can measure, because we can see the body, we cannot see the soul. We know the phenomenon, but we cannot look behind the phenomenon as a scientist. But as a philosopher, we pretend to go farther. We are metaphysicians. Okay. Next page. I go to number 5. So we spoke about that already, the differentiation of organ. And there is another quotation here. Look at that quotation. A critical moment early in the life of an embryo, that is important for those who work for pro-life. Identical cells miraculously, no other word will do, begin to take on specialized roles. Some from tissue for the heart, other for of the liver or skin. Each of these different cells, still very important, contains all the original instruction for reproducing the entire organism. But someone on Indian genes are Swiss, etc. That is important. And that is not from the Pope, it's not from the Bible, it's from scientists of today. Honest scientists, they recognize that there is limit to their knowledge. Okay? So the word miraculously is very important. The differentiation begins with the first cell. The first cell is already with your DNA. Your DNA was in the first cell. You were there in the first cell. Yes, brother.
Why is it that nobody wants, well, not that nobody, but they don't want, scientists won't want to say that human life begins at conception?
Because they cannot measure life. They can't measure only the effect of life. You know, a scientist, to be honest, cannot say there is a soul. Because he cannot verify, he cannot observe the soul. He can see the effect. You remember when we studied in logic, if P, then Q. Remember that? If P, then Q. And if we affirm P, a Q, can we affirm P?
Yes.
No. So we see the effects. Can we affirm that all those effects are made by the soul? We have to search. And those who are honest, humble, they say, we cannot know. At least we cannot know. They cannot affirm. It's true. We cannot ask a scientist to say there is a soul. If you say that, he's no more a scientist, he's a metaphysician. And they are metaphysicians when they deny there is a soul. Because they cannot affirm, they cannot deny. But they can recognize there must be something, a principle, intelligent, but they cannot say it is a soul. Only a metaphysician can say that. Because a metaphysician accepts to go farther than what we observe. But a scientist limits his knowledge to what he can observe. You understand that, huh? So you cannot ask more from a physician for a scientist, for a biologist, that he can affirm. Don't ask a biologist to affirm there is a soul. If he does that, he is no more a biologist. He is a philosopher, or he is a believer. Because he cannot verify that. He can only have a question. Huh? Have a question here. He cannot answer that. You understand? That's very, very important. Sometimes we put on people sin they cannot commit. An honest scientist cannot say there is no soul, or we cannot say there is a soul. If we say there is no soul, or there is a soul, if you say that, you are a metaphysician. You are a philosopher. You are not a scientist. Because if you affirm Q, we cannot affirm P. And we cannot measure the soul through our material means of observation, microscope. So we have to be, I don't know, at least to be honest to say I am limited. But if I am a Christian, now I can kneel down, I can say, God, you did very thing. But that you see that not because you are a scientist, because you are a Christian. Otherwise, science will obligatory produce faith. Like a miracle will produce faith. A miracle cannot produce faith. And science cannot produce faith. That is the big error sometimes we do. Don't ask science to give more than it can give. But it gives a lot today. A lot. Even scientists, when they affirm there is an entelechy. But they don't affirm a soul. Okay? For me, it's a great... You know, when you compare the affirmation of the 19th century and today, there is a gap. Why? Because we know much better the human body than we know it 200 years ago. Okay? Well, now, a comparison, page 10 with a computer. Well, a computer, of course, is a marvel. Huh? It is a marvel. You know, what is our brain, for example, here we compare to our brain. The marvel of our brain, it is the interconnection of the cells together, huh? The neuron together. I go in the middle now. As they shift position, the molecule pass along information in the manner of ordinary integrated circuit. But, that is important, but because they are so tiny and so close together, they can perform, my neuron, my brain, perform a calculation in about 1/millionth the time of today's best chip. That means 1 million the time of today's best chip. That means the speed of information in our body is 1 million times faster than a computer. You know what I told you? Remember the president lecture that at the same time we see, we imagine, we think, we decide, we judge, all that at the speed of light. Like they say, faster than light. That is a marvel. Our brain is a marvel. Our body is a marvel. A marvel. You know, as a Christian, for me the best proof of the existence of God is not the motion in the world, is my own body. And the body of a baby. The most beautiful masterwork is not to produce the Mona Lisa. Millions of people, they go to Paris, 6 million every year to contemplate Mona Lisa. They should contemplate a beautiful baby. It's a marvel. Look at yourself when you were 1 year old. Oh, you were a marvel. Today maybe you lose a marvel. Because we are used to that marvel. And when your mother, and your father, your grandmother, oh, you were the most marvelous baby in the world. It was true for them. Every man is a man. That's it, only at the point of view of biology. I don't speak about the human right here. I speak only about the aspect of science. Okay? So I go to page 11. I will have no question about the statistic in biology. But what is important to see the extreme complexity of the human being, at the same time, is unity. You can say I, and you are made with trillions of cells. You have a lot of organs, and you say I. The same I is able to pray. The same I is able to study philosophy. The same I is able to eat ice cream. The same I is able to play soccer. The same I. Many, 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 many functions. You know, when they compare man to animal, for me, it's an insult for me. Man is, an animal can, of course, it's a marvel. A cat is a marvel. But in the regard of a man is so gifted, so gifted, but so responsible. You know, in the Bible, when they say God created man at his image and resemblance, he did not say that for your cat. For man. The grandeur of a man is to be the image of God, and that is complexity in the unity. Look at God. God created the whole world. A lot of God. Oh, imagine everything exists because of him. At the same time, he is only one. Unity of action. It's the same for us by analogy. We have one. At the same time, we have trillions of cells. Okay. In page 11. So now we say the number of genetic information is astronomical. We admire galaxy. It's a marvel when you look at the sky at night. Here is not a marvel because we are not able to see the star because of the light of the cities. But if you go in the forest, if you go a place where there is no light at all, it's a marvel to see. In Cameroon, where I was at night, there was no light. And at the same time, I was able to see the constellation of the cross of the south and the bear of the north. Because we had at the equator, I was able to see the two constellations. It's a marvel. But the human being, the star does not reproduce. They die. But we reproduce. We grow. And we are not only on earth, we are also, through philosophy, not through theology, we prove that we are immortal. Through philosophy. Because we are spiritual. The proof, how is it possible that a principle be able to control, to animate, to give motion to all those trillions of cells, yet at the same time be matter itself? That principle must be above. And in fact, the principle, life is in and is above. Life is in every cell, and life is above. Why? Because it can control, it can unify, and to unify, we must be in. The commander in the army is not among the soldiers, he is controlling. So it's the same. Our soul is not material. Page 11 in the middle. In the middle. Number 8. Very, very, very important. All components, that is the result of, that is science, not philosophy, science, are hierarchically structured, organized, and ordered, or if you want, finalized. Structure and order, or another word, organized and finalized. That means finality and organization. Organization implies something at the beginning, and finality, something at the end. That paragraph, very, very important. I read it. In spite of their seemingly inexhaustible complexity, all components of an organism are hierarchically structured in order to the promotion of the organism's well-being, health, good functioning. So very important affirmation, hierarchy and order. If there is hierarchy in my body, organization in my body, there must be a principle of organization. Number 8.1 at the bottom. Thus, all the activity within the organization fall under the control of a master program. And we know that master program is inscribed in every cell. We call that DNA. DNA is the inscribed problem in every cell. Every cell receives the same order, the same program, and they work together. If one stop working together, there's a disorder that is cancer, multiplication of cells. Very important. The master program guides and channels all the activity to the accomplishment of a unified common goal. Common goal. All my senses, all my organs, all my cells work for the common goal. Every cell is protecting me against an invader. Every cell. And when I am sick because I lose my immune system. That is finality. You should, I don't have, I'm not a biologist, but if you look at the picture I gave you at the end of the chapter about the cell, you see how one cell is organized. One! And you have trillions of cells. Okay? Next page. Yellow, yellow, yellow. That page is excessively important. Huh? So, the unified common goal, the aim of the program encoded with the DNA and found within every cell is the promotion of the health and overall development of an organization. So the magnitude of this task, the master program, is shown by the following fact, that within the mature human there is many 100 trillion cells, all of which are interconnected by a common network, unified. There must be a principle of unification. That is the soul, that's the entelechy. No? The living being is one reality. Huh? It is a state of dynamic equilibrium, whereby through the constant internal repair and creation of new cell, nutrition, renewal of cell, the organism maintains itself in being. Sometimes 100 years. Imagine 100 years. I received a call recently, a sister in Montreal, she's 104 years. Therefore, what above all is worthy of note are constituted of million cells, even, no mention, etc. The living organism remain effective, closely knit unity. That is striking. Unity for millions of things, trillions of things. The living organism is one being, one reality. And that is against Mr. Descartes. Huh? We are not accidentally in the body. My soul is, my principle of life is not like a driver in a car. All those activities aim its conservation, future development, finally, conclusion. The profoundest question of all, how to explain the unity of that? How? So if a scientist gives an answer, he's no more scientist. But we are not scientists, we are philosophers, we are metaphysicians, therefore we can say, we can extrapolate. We can go farther, metaphysics, beyond nature, beyond physics. Okay, so next page. In that principle, we call that the soul. The soul, the first principle of life. So there is a complexity and unity and harmonious balance. So various forms of experience. For example, a living being is able to repair. A non-living being is not able to repair. There is coordination and organization. We saw that. So So the living thing has activity which are aimed to the support of renewal and development. So there is finality. And how we can explain that? Using the theory of matter and form. Huh? Remember that, Aristotle. Huh? My body is the matter of my eye, and my soul is the form of my eye. What gives determination to matter is the soul, is the form. Okay? So unity and multiplicity. Okay, so the dualism. And you go to page 14, yellow, yellow, yellow. Some pages are very, very important. That page is very important. The form or soul as the principle of life, enteliki. So is the ultimate life principle within the living thing, conjoined with the body as principles. Both are principles, not only my soul. My soul can do nothing without my body. Both together, co-principle. 3. Aristotle seems to be in accord with the recent finding of modern biology. Whereas to speak of the soul as the formal cause and the body and its life principle, what he affirms seems to be clearly in accord with the most recent advanced finding of biology. So sometimes people say, oh, the philosophy of Aristotle is not, yes, it's very old, but conform to modern science. The recently discovered genetic code become readily explainable as the effect of a pervasive presence everywhere of the first principle of life, the soul. So necessity of the presence of the code, exercising code, etc. So we can see the soul, that the soul is animating every part of every cell. At the same time, is immanent but is transcendent. So my soul is immanent, animate every cell of my body, unifying them, but at the same time my soul transcends my body. Well, we saw that when we study, for example, emotion, passion, we can control. We have the power to, even sometimes to contradict our appetite. That means we have a power of freedom, the power of knowledge. So that is a proof that my soul is spiritual. My soul not only animates every part, but at the same time unify, control. Okay? So we come back on that on page 15 next class, because I think it's almost the time to go to recreation. To prove that you are still living, because it is a self-movement, self-motion. That class is very, very important, especially for those who work for pro-life. Try to assimilate that. Try to assimilate it.